Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
This what I tell 'em. Look, I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles. And today we're here with my guy, Mr. Treveal Lynch. Great man, doing some really neat things. And I'm super excited to have him on this episode of the Success Chronicles. So first off, thanks so much for taking the time to hang out with me today with the Success Chronicles.
Oh, thanks so much, Chip, man. I really appreciate you having me on, man. It's an honor, it's a blessing, and it's a privilege, man. So any way that I can serve and add value, man, I definitely want to do that for you in this moment. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, let's dive into it, man. I know off air we talked a little bit about your life story and some of the things that you've grown through.
That's right.
But if you don't mind, man, talk to us about your life story and track your story till now, and if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. We'd love to. Grew up in the Midwest, man. I'm a Midwest guy. I was born in Chicago, grew up in Toledo, Ohio, moved to Ohio when I was 7, raised by my grandmother. Mother and father were not, I would say, not in my life, but also just not, now that I look back on it, man, not mentally, strong enough, man, just not mentally prepared to really take on me as a child. And so they weren't in my life as much. My mother, for the majority of her life, crack cocaine, alcoholism, but in her later years, man, which is really, I always like to kind of, highlight those latter years. She gave her life to the Lord. She served in the church. And really got her life together. My father, he wasn't, within my life for the first 23 years, but again, met him when I was 23, when I moved out here to California with my wife, and our relationship now is on and popping. And so God also restored that relationship with my father. Listen, I always tell the hard, man, but I always also want to tell the testimony. I always want to praise God and give God the glory for bringing things full circle and for repairing much of the damage that was done in my formative years. And so in those formative years, man, my theme really was just a life of really being stripped down, really being torn down when it came to my value, my worth, my sense, as I say, my sense of significance. Whether at the age of 7, don't know how, but I just blew up and became, known as the fat kid, in the hood. Around that same time, I began to stutter. Again, don't know where that came from. Perhaps it was from the shame of being overweight, I'm not sure. But I got clowned on for stuttering. Later on in life, being molested. Being sexually molested by those within my family and total strangers, man, because my mother was going through her, abuse, struggles. She would take me around people, that really weren't the best for me. And so sexually abused multiple times. And so all of these things, man, became extremely damaging to my value, extremely damaging to the way that I felt about myself and the way that I looked at myself. So later on in, high school, I got addicted to marijuana. Kind of that was my escape. And so, 17, 18, graduating from high school, I had a full ride to college, man. I had a full ride. Everything was paid for, locked and loaded. And because of my addiction to marijuana and because of my low value, my low self-esteem, I probably was in college maybe about 2 months. And then we received a letter. My grandmother, I'll never forget the day, man. My grandmother received a letter in the mail, and they were pretty much just telling on me. They pretty much said, your son, Treveal, he's not coming to class. He's not participating in school. And I always look back and I said, no, Mom, I was there. I was just sitting in the back, high as a kite. I was just sitting in the back, not participating. I was physically there, but mentally I was not there. Long story short, she said, hey, here's your options, man. You got one, you can stay in college, do what you're supposed to do, and stay with me. Option number two, you get out next Saturday. It was 7 days, Chip. 7 days, man. 7 days. 7 days later, because of, again, I didn't value myself. I didn't see I didn't see any worth in my life at this point. So much had been done to me. So many things had been said about me. I chose to drop out of college, man. And 7 days later, my grandmother had all of my clothes packed up in garbage bags on my front porch. And for the next 2 years, I deemed it as becoming this homeless house hopper. I don't know if you've ever been in a position where technically you are homeless. You don't have a home that you really have, right? But I had homeboys, so I stayed a few nights over there. Homegirls, stay a few nights over there. Sleep in the car one night. Sleep on the back porch one night. So I'm just, I'm just house hopping for 2 years, and I always share the story that there was a low point, man, in my life where at nighttime I would take off my T-shirt. And that's all that I had. I was staying in a roach-infested apartment, and I had my T-shirt, and I would just ball my T-shirt up at night, and that was my pillow. And these roaches, man, these were not like you see one or two, or you cut the lights off and the roaches kind of like scatter, whatever. I'm talking about roaches where you came home from wherever you was coming from, and they greet you at the door. The roaches where you friends, like y'all on a first name basis. Roach infested apartment buildings. And, and that was my low point, man. That's where, again, I didn't see any value or worth in my life. So why should I do better? Why should I want better? Why should I even try to do better, right? And so lastly, man, kind of going through that whole chronicle, so to speak, at my lowest point, now looking back at it, I forgot what year it was, but I know I was 20. And I had just purchased an ounce of marijuana. And I was with some cats from the other side of town, and they pretty much set me up to get robbed. I was sitting in the backseat of the car. We went through this alleyway, and the person that was driving said, hey, man, I got to jump out, got to take a leak. When he jumped out, he disappeared, in between some houses, and two guys came out from in between the houses, and one guy put the gun up to my head. My window was rolled down. It was summertime, and the guy put the gun up to the side of my head, man. And he says, give me your stuff, right? I ain't going to use the adjectives that he actually used, but he said, give me your stuff, man. Come up off that. So they knew what I had, man. They knew that I had something. Yeah. And it was another cat in the front seat, but for whatever reason, they weren't bothering him. All of the heat, all of the attention was coming at me. And the guy had the gun put to my head on my temple. And he said, man, give me your stuff. I said, no. He said, man, give me what you got. And I said, no. And then I began to clean that bag of marijuana. I began to cling to it because it was shoved down in the front of my pants. So I began to cling to it as I told him no for the third time. And when I told him no for the third time, he pulled that trigger. And I could hear that hammer pop back, just that little pow, right? So I don't know if you or if any of your listeners, anybody, if you ever had a gun put to your head and you hear a trigger pop back, you hear that hammer pop back. It's a sound that you'll never forget, man. But I believe that God saved my life. He had a plan, a purpose. There was something that he needed, done and completed through my life. And I believe that he saved me that day, man. But looking back at it, man, that was really always the theme of my life. That was always the theme of my come up was, you ain't worth nothing. You don't belong to nothing. You don't belong to anyone. So why should you care about you? And so it was really a me against the world mentality. And I just did not accept or appreciate or like myself very much at all. So I was willing to give up my life, man, for $120, bag of weed.
Crazy. Yeah, man, that's wild. And it's awesome how now you can take the things that you've grown through in your life, and now you can use those experiences to help others. And I think that's really what allows us to be in alignment with our assignment, right?
Wow.
Because, we grow through those things, but like you said, the big man saved your life, but he puts us in places to where he's setting us up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, man, I think it's awesome how that has transpired, and now you're doing what you're doing. So what are 3 things that you've accomplished in your life that you're proud of?
Well. Number one, man, to be all the way, honest, I am married, man, 20 years in.
That's awesome.
I think that's something, man, that I'm extremely proud of, because I come from a lineage, I come from a family background. Marriage ain't what we do. Men that carry my last name, I literally can't name one man with my last name that came from my family that's married. So number one, man, being married, have 4 children, the wife of, like I said, 20 years. So that would be number one. I believe number 2, man, would be, even though I can't take credit for it, right? It's not like I take credit for being in a relationship with God. But when I think of just things that I'm just grateful for in terms of my priorities, man, I'm proud to live this life and to represent my God, man. I don't get into religions, debates. I don't get into your God, my God. I call him Jesus. That's who I believe in. Yeah. But I serve a greater power, a greater source. And the fact that I can daily surrender my life, daily surrender my thoughts, my actions, my words, my mentality, right? My goals, my dreams, my ambitions, that I willfully submit that to something greater than me so that I can be a contribution to the betterment of our society. That I'm extremely proud of, that I can stand for the betterment of our society. I believe that we were created to not simply make a contribution, but to be a contribution to the betterment of our society. And then lastly, man, I'm extremely proud to be a 2-time author, man. One of the dreams, when I first moved out here to California, one of my early mentors said, "What is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to do?" And I said, because I had been watching John Maxwell for years, and I had a chance to meet John Maxwell. I said, I want to do what John Maxwell does. I said, I want to write, and then I want to teach what I write. I said, that's really all I want to do. I want to write and then teach what I write. And so, the Lord's blessed me with the ability to write and to teach and to articulate and to preach. I'm a pastor, and so I preach, I teach, I speak, but the ability for me to write and for me to have authored 2 books, and know that will outlive me. That's one of the passions that I have for being an author. I can't be in, you know what I'm saying? Like I have a very short lifespan, right? Maybe 100 years, but that book is here. It's in the earth. It's in the universe. It's here. I'm in, Southern California. Maybe I can't get to Japan right now, but my book can. Maybe I can't get to South Africa right now, but my book can. Maybe I can't meet with you in your home and counsel you one-on-one for whatever reasons, but my book can. So for me, man, that's the biggest accomplishment, to be able to put pen to pad and to endure the process, to endure the process. You being, a multi-time, author, the process, the loneliness, the long nights, the early mornings, the stress, the fears, the worries, the anxiety, the what ifs, I made it through it twice, and I endure. I believe for more. There's more that are on my hard drive. So I've done it multiple times. I know the pain and the struggle that it requires, but I also choose to endeavor to do it again, to release everything that's within me. So that I'm extremely proud of.
That's awesome, man. Great things to be proud of. Great story. So let's hit on success. What is your definition of success?
I don't know how long. I don't have to go long. I'm a preacher, man, so I can talk. I can go forever. But let me give you the short end.
Come on,
man. Okay, because I want to go in on it, man. Because once I say it, it may take some explaining, but I just want to share because it's the definition that I love most. right? Success is one of those things where it has multiple definitions anyway. Plus, is one of those words that it can be very individual. Like your success might be different than mine, right? So it's very what's the word for subjective?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's very subjective. So I know Webster's dictionary version of it, but my version of it, success is me. Success is me. And not me like, oh, I'm me, like Treveal, me. You know, I'm saying success is humanity. And the reason that I say that, and the reason that I love that one so much, is because of my passion to see people see their significance. To see people see their significance is my passion. That's what wakes me up in the morning. And when I think of the narrative that I have chosen to believe, which is, in the beginning, there was a creator that said, I want man. I desire man. I envision man. I'm going to make man out of my own likeness, out of my own image, with my own very nature. I'm going to make a man. And as success is always a result. It's always that which comes after. Success is always that which comes after. After what? After an idea, after a word, after an action. That's where we get the successor. Who's going to succeed you? Who's going to come after you? And so when I think about this narrative that there is a creator that wanted me, I get to imagining, man, like we are God's idea. We're God's intention, right? We are God's innovation. Right, we are God's imagination, right? And so he's wanting us, he wanted us, and he thought of us, and he planned for us, and he strategized for us, and now we are. We came after his desire. We are a product of God's desire, Chip. Like that's like we are God's, like we existed in the very mind of God, and he wanted us, and now we are. I tell people, listen, you are the dream that came true. God dreamt of you. Just like anyone else has a dream. They dream of you, they conceptualize you, they see you in their mind's eye, they have a vision of you, and then you came to be, you manifested, you came after his idea of you. So when you say, what is success, man, you are, Chip is success. Your listeners, every one of you, you're success. I'm success. We are success. Why? Because we are our creator's success, man.
Love it, man. Ooh, powerful.
You get on my street, man. That's my street right there. You get on my street.
I love it.
I love that question, man.
Yes, sir. Well, before we get off, if you don't mind sharing with the audience where they can go follow you and check you out and show you some love and get those books.
Right. Yes, man. Yes. Everything is I am the possible. I am the possible. I don't have my shirt on right now, but it's I am the possible. It's all one word, no space, all lowercase. IamThePossible.com.
There it is.
And so I always say that multiple times because sometimes people punch in I am possible or I'm possible, but it's IamThePossible.com, or just Google I am the possible, and the SEO work does its job, man. So I'm there.
There it is. Well, again, I want to say thanks so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles, and I wish you continued success, my man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, Chip. Thanks, brother.
All right. Well, thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless.
Go get it.